Hey people, what's good? This is episode 48. This is Sports Debate Tuesday, and the episode starts right now. Guess who's back? Back again. Guess who's back? Back again. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? What's good, people? This is episode 48 along with my man Rob. Keep it McLean. I am Jason DeBias. This is Sports Debate Tuesday. We are on episode 48. What's good, my man? How
What's
you
happening,
feel?
my brother?
How you feeling
I'm
today?
great.
Did the
Feeling
sun
great.
rise? You got out there and trained a little bit?
Yeah.
Oh
I had
man.
just got on the sand, it was crazy rain last night, but we back on the sand.
Yes. Oh man, I'm gonna be out there. Within the next few days. I'm over what was wrong with me, which was not COVID. Now listen, I feel pretty good, Rob. Today I was gonna start the show. I was gonna talk about how great my Buffalo Bills are. I was gonna start singing that song. Hey, 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 hey. You know the rest, right? I was gonna talk about Josh Allen. I was going to talk about the great game he had. He's 27 for 36, 320 yards, 4 scores, 75% completion percentage with a 148.5 passer rating. Talking about how he broke Jim Kelly's record for most touchdowns, Buffalo Bills franchise record with 34. Not to mention that the 8 that he ran, so that's even more than you think. All right, so he broke Jim Kelly's. I wanted to talk about Stephon Diggs. He broke Eric Mole's franchise record for receiving yards, and he's the leader in receptions in this league right now by far, by 9. Okay, I wanted to talk about how Beasley is first in the league in slot receptions. I wanted to talk about how my Buffalo Bills are first in the league in third down conversions. However, second or last on like getting off the field, when but can't talk about that right now, right? Why? Because we find ourselves in the beginning of this episode talking about the New York Jets beating the Cleveland Browns. Bow wow wow diddy o diddy a, bow wow diddy o diddy a. The dog pounding got their dogs pounded by the New York Jets 23-16. Watching Sam Darnold run over somebody. We're going to talk about that later. That's on our shame, okay? All right, so back to business. The Jets dropped the Browns 23-16, and the question is, with the Browns at 10-5, and a slew of other teams at 10-5, they're right now if they win, they're in. But you got the Colts on the outside looking in, and they play the Steelers. So the question, Rob, did the Browns losing this game play themselves out of the playoffs?
I'm going to say yes, just because the trend of where their team is going. For me, I was surprised at how well they did this year, especially the last 2 years being so, okay. But I still think they overachieved, So right now, when you have like this many people out, they have to not just come back, but they have to come back and perform, And then this is week 17, so everything is on this game this time. So I just don't see their team, peaking or playing their best football right now when it matters the most. And I think the other teams are just are rearing to go to take over that division. The Ravens have been playing great football. And I think just the Browns have been playing good enough football to win games. And I think that's, it's great. But when you lose a lot of players, especially in a short time, I understand that's tough, but you still have your franchise quarterback. You still have some franchise pieces there that should have been, their overall number 1 draft picks. They have 3 of them on that team. So the fact to say that they don't have enough to win games against an 0-14 team, which is what they should be, but a now 2-12 team in the Jets, I just think it shows that the Browns have probably very little depth. They have their front line. Everything is good on the front line, but just like the playoff shows, when you get deeper in your team, are they good? Do they play a high level? And I think that just shows the Browns they're still, an emerging franchise. They're not that franchise yet. So yeah, I believe they did play themselves out of their playoff spot, and I hope 10-6 will win them a playoff spot next year.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? 10-6 doesn't get you into the playoffs. In fact,
Yeah.
um, all four teams that are 10-5 that can win out, and there's going to be one team. If they all win out, there's going to be one team at 11-5 that's not going to make it to the playoffs. That's the Indianapolis Colts, who lost to Pittsburgh this weekend. Rob, I had a preemptive answer as I was doing my research and preparing this podcast. The answer, my original answer, was an emphatic hell no. I'm like, hell no, they're not gonna. They're playing the Steelers at Pittsburgh. That is a rivalry, as you know, compared to what happened like last year with Garrett and this and that. And between the Ravens and Pittsburgh, I think they make an extra effort to make sure they don't try to lose. Rob, let me ask you something. You're a volleyball player. You ever play against someone that was better than you that when you were coming up, but now you're better than them? But for some reason, they have this problem losing to you, so they always play you harder than they play everybody else.
Totally.
That's the Steelers
Totally.
right now. That's the Steelers right now. They do not want to lose to the Browns ever again. The Ravens, after they, Cleveland stuck it to them a year ago. The Ravens don't ever want to lose to them again. I think the Ravens swept the season series. Okay, now let's consider some logistics first. We're gonna do. I'm gonna throw some numbers, and then we're just gonna do a little eye test thing. All right. So right now the Ravens play the Bengals. They're gonna beat the Bengals. I mean, Bengals are balling, and I appreciate that. And we're gonna
Really
talk
are.
about people that are balling with nothing to lose. We could talk about that later in the show. The Colts play Jacksonville. Jacksonville, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. They just forget it. I just thought about New York Knicks, so I'm gonna skip them. All right. Miami plays Buffalo. That's not an easy win for Miami, and Buffalo might be playing for second place because second place gets you 2 home games since only the first place team has a bye. All right. So the Browns play the Steelers. Last week, a combined 45 yards rushing against the Jets, no less, okay? They were without their top 4 wide receivers for COVID, including Landry and Higgins and Peoples-Jones and Hodge, okay? Mayfield, 52% completion percentage, 28 of 53 passing attempts. That is not how you beat the Jets. That is not Cleveland Browns football, all right? You got Kareem Hunt and you got Chubb and you got your receivers out. Even if the other team knows you're coming, you run. Okay? Because there's sometimes, right? There are times they just man up. So when I considered that, I think the Colts are going to win. I think they're going to beat the Jacksonville. I think the Ravens are going to win. I think they're going to beat the Bengals. Let's call Miami and let's call Miami and Buffalo, I don't know, a wash. If they lose, I think they're out. If they lose, even if Miami loses, right? I mean, I think they hold a tiebreaker against Cleveland. So I think they're out. So I had an emphatic hell no coming into this podcast. But as I'm waiting for us to set up, what do I get on my news feed? Mason Rudolph is starting for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And my question is, so I'm going to punt the question back to you. And I'd like to answer first since it was my turn to talk, and I'm going to give you the floor back. Will Pittsburgh still beat Cleveland with Mason Rudolph? I don't think so anymore. Floor is yours.
So, I mean, honestly, even just back to the point you were talking about, I feel as though and this has been my problem with Big Ben in Pittsburgh the entire time, they want him to be that guy. And he hasn't been an MVP caliber player for 5 years now, 6 years now. And I mean, when he was at his peak, unbelievable. But he can't throw more than 30 times in a game. But they do it every single time. And they wonder, why does he have these bad interceptions? Or it's just like, it looks like a mental lapse. In all honesty, if Mason Rudolph is playing good, consistent football, like let's say Ryan Finley for the Cincinnati Bengals, if all he does is play consistent football, their defense in Pittsburgh can not only just stop the other team, but maybe score some points, And I think just the whole idea that, they turn the ball over way too much, especially Big Ben. They're not getting into their star guys. Juju. I mean, it's just Eric Ebron's getting more touches than Juju Smith-Schuster. I mean, that's crazy. What about Chase Claypool? Like all these guys have been shut down or relegated to throws in the flat and then make it work. That's crazy. So I don't know. Maybe it's just Big Ben. Maybe they're just giving us some time off. But I feel as though as long as Mason Rudolph can do what a lot of these backup quarterbacks have been doing, which is play good enough, that defense can start to become alive again. And that's what I feel is what's going to happen. And let's look at not Detroit. Let's look at Cleveland even. If Baker plays really well, their defense isn't going to wake up. You know what I'm saying? Their team is based off of that defense. So, like, I just don't like what the sparks that Cleveland has. Like they got Myles Garrett, but they got no one really else behind that. They got Baker Mayfield, but really it's Nick Chubb and their receiver core and their linemen that really are stepping up this season to do more. Baker Mayfield is just kind of there. So in my eyes, I just think that there's too many roller coasters on Cleveland. I think they did a great job this year of making that into a better football team, but I just don't like Baker Mayfield. I love Nick Chubb more than I love Baker Mayfield. You know what I mean? It's just
you should have loved Chubb more this weekend, right?
I just like Chubb, period.
Yeah.
I like Chubb more than Baker Mayfield for that franchise. I think he's even more of a franchise player than Baker Mayfield. But anyway, I just feel like the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to come out and do what they do every year, which is play better towards the end of the year. Play better in the playoffs, play better when it matters. In Cleveland, going to do what they usually do. Play worse towards the end of the year. Start to throw games they may have could have won. So I like Cleveland to lose this game, but, I obviously understand why they could win. But if they don't get all their players back, if all their players aren't performing at the top level, they're going to be just as good as the team that just lost to the Jets. So.
Yeah, well, definitely. We're going to re-explore this because that's one of our games on our NFL Pick Six. So, I'm definitely we're going to revisit that, and initially I thought they were in big trouble, but to be continued on that. Not having Big Ben start without, as bad as he's been, without a running game. They do have some talented receivers, but to what end, So. We got Pick Six coming up, but before we go to Pick Six, we have this little end of year thing I like to do, and you know how big I am on top fives and all that stuff. So, right now we're gonna revisit or conclude this terrible year that I wish, I speak for both of us, we can eliminate from the human footprint. And just call next year 2020, and just pretend this one never happened. So many celebrity deaths. We're going to revisit some of those too. Some celebrity sports figures, so many musicians. I had a whole list of them, I do, but this is a sports debate show, so we'll talk about one in particular. But this is Jason and Rob's top 5 reasons sports save 2020. Rob, I go with reason number 5. Sports talk shows. You got First Take. You got Skip and Shannon. You got Jason, Jay, and Rob. People like us, when sports was shut down and when we got reduced to watching horse. We're watching horse on the granddaddy of sports networks. We're watching horse. Okay, sports talk shows have kept everybody engaged with social justice and a lot of these athletes that stood up, but it's like a tree that falls in the woods. Like if no one covers it, they don't have a voice. So big up. Number 5 are people like, the big wigs like Stephen A, Max, Skip, whatever. Love me some Ryan Clark. I wish he would. I wish he'd be on First Take every day. And guys like us, we banged out 48 straight weeks. Okay, Stephen A didn't even do 48 straight weeks. All right, we're in episode 48. So that's reason number 5. Reason number 4, 3 letters, the AVP. For the people that followed us that watch indoor or beach volleyball, the AVP during this shutdown managed to get everybody COVID tested, created their own kind of poor man's mini bubble, if they will, because a lot of these players are roommates and train with each other, so they isolated with each other. They got a film permit for the parking lot for Long Beach, and filled this parking lot with sand and staged 3 straight weekends, 3 straight events, and the players did not disappoint. I mean, we could talk about Taylor Crabb. That's my dude. He was, congratulations, Taylor. You were 5-1 last week. Your brother was 1-5, so I'm a tease a little bit. Phil was Phil, Nick was Nick, but highlighting some of these girls like Chrissy Jones, highlighting, Reed Pretty, David Lee, a lot of these people who had to qualify for this draw. Like you're talking about champions, Ricardo that had to whatever. So it was definitely the AVP, and big up to my guys in the Florida region. Big up to my guys in Louisiana volleyball, Sean Ledig, Evan Corey. Big up to Kevin Knight. Big up to Dave Palm, everybody that just made the smaller venue tournaments happen and just play big. Big up to Jeff Samuels, who was in the picture pretty much every whatever. So great job for beach volleyball in such a bad time. Rob, number 3, I think it's where you at, the NFL?
Yeah. Well, UFC, no?
Oh, yeah.
UFC, they put on a whole bunch of events. It almost seems like now it's almost every other weekend they're putting an event on, so, I love what they did towards the end now, where they're really trying to up the ante and see how far they can go with it. But they were really one of the most influential, in the very, very, very beginning, whether it was, one of the 4 major sports, they're right on the cusp of that. And they made major changes just to make sure they could actually hold events, keep their business going. I'm not really sure how big's business up there, but, it must be difficult with all the money that was not coming in, to supplement that for the fighter salaries and all these other things that, they got to do to keep
I know
these
they took a
fighters
hit,
in.
right? Yep.
When they also have, Bellator, K1, they have all these other, established athletic,
You got one championship, right?
get one championship. You have all these established, companies that are, that could poach these players in a second. So it's just very great to have that live, not live audience, but at least live sporting events that we could still be a part of and make things seem like a bit more normal again. So, big up to UFC on that for sure.
Nah, no doubt, man. Number 2, Rob. You got number 2.
Hey, for me, you got the
It's
NBA
NFL,
belt.
NFL, yeah. I
The
think.
NFL, yeah. The NFL, man, they, I was very happy with them that not only they put it on, but they also gave people the option to not play, to be safe and to, keep their family healthy as well. So again, just another innovative way to still continue to keep the events going, but also to, allow people to, stay in and play or not play, still earn a salary if you're not going to play. So it's very progressive in their way to get things started.
Oh, wow, yeah. Yeah, for me, number 1, Rob, is the NBA. When this thing hit and the NBA season got shut down, they're like, wait a second. We are one of the richest leagues in the world. All right. And we're global. We're not just national. Why don't we just get a zip code, take all of the players and put them in the zip code? And everybody's like, oh, wait, but they'll be away from their families. And I'm like, dude, shut up. It's called sacrifice, all right? I am a military vet, okay? I'm a Gulf War vet. I had to be away from my family to do my job, all right? And if I could do that for a cheap-ass salary, these guys could do it for 2.5 months. And Rob, they did it. They got basically 1 or 2 zip codes, 354 players, 0 positive tests, though I think you call BS on that. But if there was a way for sports to happen, they laid out the platform. Of course, they had the money to do it, but they showed other leagues like, look, we're not talking about can't here. We're talking about can. If it can be done, how? This is the way. Boom. And you know what? It was exciting as hell to watch. And I can't even imagine if it was that exciting to watch without fans there. You had a bunch of TV screens, which was pretty good, and you had acoustic support. I can't even imagine how exciting this NBA Finals would have been with fans. And I can't wait. I speak for both of us. I can't wait to start seeing some of these stadiums and arenas packed. But the NBA, man, gold standard, and they really, really set the standard. And that was really cool. you know. So that's Rob and I. That's our top 5 ways that sports saved 2020. And I use the word saved cautiously, of course, because I know there were people sick and I know there are people that lost their lives. So not everybody got saved. But in the metaphoric sense of the term, and since this is a sports show, I'm only going to say, and I say this for you, Rob, you know what I mean. All right. So now we move on to our NFL Pick 6. Let's go over last week's results. Right now, actually, as of last night, or actually last Sunday, we got Taylor Crabb, 5-1. I think he lost with the Colts. You, my man, lost with the Eagles. I tried to tell you. And me, my dumb self picked the Rams over the Seahawks. So those are our 3 losses. So we're going to go to the total numbers. Let's go back to the total numbers. And right now you were tied with the guest at 53-29. Both of you were tied last week. Me, if you look at me, Rob, guess who broke off even?
2 good weeks will do that to
you. Yes. Listen,
hey,
I always come back.
Now you can make it look good if you get a good one this week.
I'll finish strong. I just want to see. I just want to see my last record, the last 3 weeks, to even dream that I could break off even. All right, so this week we got a little mini drum roll. Maybe I'll throw one in on the edit, but drum roll, please. This is our new guest who's going to be doing Pick 6 with us this week. It is Sean Ledig. What's up, Sean Ledig? Thank you for participating this week with us, and thank you, Taylor Crabb, last week, man. That was pretty cool, man. I might say some cool things about him at the end, but not because I'm like a fan of his game, but I'm a fan of his personality. I met him, or I knew about him before he came up on the AVP. He played for a team called Hustle and Flow with Luis Mendez, Frankie Valdez, and everybody was saying, "Oh, this guy's cool people. This guy's cool people." So, unlike a lot of people who are intrigued by his game and think he's a good human being because of how good he plays, I thought he was a cool dude from the beginning. And then when I was doing the beat, when he won New York, he had to board on the airplane. He gave me the 20-minute interview, and I thought that was really cool of him. Everyone's boarding and shit. So, his discipline is as far as the game and playing and I guess being on time, knowing where he's supposed to be and doing his job, big up to him. But as far as good human beings are concerned, I'm going to shut up about Taylor. In fact, I'm going to shut up about me, okay? Because there's a lot of people that are not in that man's league. That is Sean Ledig. Welcome. Here we go. Our NFL Pick 6, all right? Our first game, let's revisit. Steelers visiting the Cleveland Browns. Rob, you're going to go first on this one.
I mean, I'm going to go with what I was saying, man. I think Cleveland's going to drop another and go home and just chill for the rest of the year.
I was all set to pick the Steelers because I know nobody likes to light up the Steelers better than Big Ben, but without Big Ben and without a decent running game, they're going to stack 8 in the box. They're going to single cover Claypool and Juju. And I don't think that Rudolph has what it takes to exploit the man coverage. I don't think he has enough practice time. And I just hope Myles Garrett doesn't hit him in the head with his own helmet again. I'm going with Cleveland. And that's it. And Sean Ledig, who do you got? Sean? Show me. Sean has
breaks the tie.
Sean's going with the Browns. Steelers, and he says the Steelers sit their starters, which I hope, by the way, because if Steelers lose, that means Buffalo has a second seed automatically. Because right now they're both 12-3, and Buffalo has a tiebreaker. Game 2, we are going to go with, I think Sean skipped one, Dolphins at the Bills. I'm going to go first on this one.
Please.
The Dolphins have more to play for with the Buffalo Bills, but the Buffalo Bills, they realize something very, very important. If you take your foot off the gas pedal, if you try to do things the traditional way, you just might lose. Like last night, They were up by a lot of points, and instead of running the ball and like ticking the clock, you know what they did? They kept throwing bombs. You know why? Because that was the only way they knew how to play. Because the last time they tried to run and they tried to dink and dump and milk the clock, they were up on the Rams 28-3 and almost blew a 25 point lead. So they know how to play, and I expect them to play the exact same way this Sunday against the Dolphins. I'm going Bills. Who you got?
Yeah, this one's difficult for me, but I'm going to go with the Dolphins just purely because I just don't trust the defense of the Bills. And I say that cautiously, but what the Dolphins do is so hard to defend time and time and time and time again. And their defense is just good enough to get some pressure, to make sure they don't get good big, deep passes, to make sure they don't, lose on the run game. I think their defense is very, very, very solid, and their offense, it's so fast, it's so like not predictable, but they know what they're doing. Do you know what I mean? So you have these no-name guys who are just, they look like studs out there. That's what a great quarterback can do, and that's what I think the Dolphins have. Whether it's Fitz or it's Tua Tagovailoa out there, they have something that they're trying to do, and on offense, that's so important to strategize. So I'm going to pick the Dolphins. I think they're going to, they're continuing the peak. And yeah, I have them winning this game.
All right, and Sean didn't pick anyone for this one. He only gave me 5 picks instead of 6, so I'm going to probably stencil in on the edit who he picks, but I'm guessing
sure.
he's probably going to go with the Bills as well, but if he doesn't, I'll double check with him. All right, we got game 3 coming up, Rob, on our, okay, we have the Dallas Cowboys visiting the G-Men, the New York Giants. Rob, you got to go first on this one.
I mean, reluctantly, this is for the record, I'll pick the Dallas Cowgirls, but on that, I have to say that I just don't think that they're going to dominate. I think, again, the Giants are going to show that, they can compete. But I just don't like what the Cowboys are doing. If they're going to lean on Andy Dalton for this many games, something's going to fall. So I'll go with the Cowboys.
Rob, sometimes we disagree on stuff, right? Sometimes it's a gentleman's disagreement, and sometimes we look at each other like you crazy as hell, okay? But in this case, this week, just like last week, Rob, I'm your friend. I was trying to help you, okay? All of the logic, all of the analytics said that the Cowboys were supposed to lose that game against the Eagles last week. The Eagles was a very good pick. But outside of the numbers, you have to understand something mystical going on. This kind of karma thing going on, this black cat syndrome. Dallas, if they lost last week, would have been eliminated. But that's not how they're supposed to break their fans' hearts. They're supposed to string them along all the way to the end. And just when you think that they're supposed to do what they're supposed to do, they will let you down. They are an accident waiting to happen. They are abysmal, okay? And I shudder to think why the hell people still call them America's team. Yeah, I said it. So this is the week that they're supposed to beat the team. They're the better running game. They have the better quarterback with the red rifle. All right. They have better wide receivers, Gallup and Debo. I don't even know who's this rookie again.
CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb. Oh my!
Crushing.
Between him and Justin Jefferson and one or two other dudes, man, this is the year of the wide receiver. But as far as upset picks, this is going to be the biggest upset I'm going to pick all season because they will let you down. I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys. Sorry.
I was like, after all that,
I'm going with Rob's G-Men. I got your back, Rob. I'm
good
Rob.
luck.
I'm your friend.
I'm
your friend.
I'm hoping they win a draft pick. I don't want them to win a game. You know what I mean?
Sean Ledig spits and swallows. He's going to pick the Cowboys too. We go to game 4. Game 4 is the Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals against the Rams. You got a game where I don't think Kyler Murray or Goff is starting. Rams are the home team. I believe the Rams are in. I mean, if they lose, they might need help. If Arizona's in, they need 2 teams to lose. And it's a tough pick because you got great corners. And the biggest difference and the biggest outlier in this game is Darnold, is Aaron Donald. Okay, both teams have very talented secondaries. You know, Peterson and Ramsey on either team. Both of them have playoff worthy quarterbacks who are not playing. Um, Drake is picking up his running game, but not against Darnold, man. Not against Donald. So I guess this game that was supposed to be a shootout is going to be a who cares game for me. I'm gonna go with the home team. I'm gonna go with the Rams.
Yeah, this one's hard for me because the Rams, I only feel like they have been good offensively. The only way they've been good offensively is because of Jared Goff. And I'm not even saying he's been doing very well. I just think he's been, such a captain to that team. Just with a broken thumb in your throwing hand, I just don't see how he's going to play. I've seen it before. I just don't think that's going to happen. I agree that Aaron Donald then is the best player on the field, and he should dominate. But I don't know, man. I have a feeling about this Arizona team. I think they have, they're really tightly knit. They'll come around to Kyler Murray, and necessarily Kyler Murray has like a hamstring deal. So, he can't necessarily run out the pocket, but he can definitely throw. So I'd expect to see him on the field before I'd see Jared Goff. So I'm just going to stick with Arizona. Hopefully, the injury report will, help me out. And, I'm going to stick with that.
All right, and Sean Ledig is going with the Cardinals. He calls it a revenge game. I believe they lost in they lost to him earlier this season.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got game 5. We have, I believe it's the Packers of Green Bay visiting the Chicago Bears. Sean, sorry, Rob, this is the one you go first.
I mean, me, I love my Green Bay Packers. Hard to say. I mean, I know if their whole team is on the field, they're going to dominate. I'm just going to go with the Green Bay Packers on this one. Just make it easy.
Chicago needs this to win it in, okay? Green Bay needs this to maintain the number 1 seed, and everybody knows that having a week off, only for all the teams that have to travel to the frozen tundra to advance in the playoffs, is nothing but an advantage for Green Bay. I don't think Green Bay is gonna mess around, and they're probably going to play everybody, because if you play everybody and if you have a bye week, then you're gonna have all the time you need to rest. All right, you don't need 2 weeks rest. You might come out literally cold as well as figuratively, and that's happened to them against the Giants. They were 15-1 in the G-men and route to the Super Bowl beat. Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, I always thought Brady saw a ghost when he played the Giants. I thought Aaron Rodgers saw a ghost when he was playing the Giants that year.
I was in Wisconsin for that game.
You were? Oh,
I was in Wisconsin for that game,
dude.
Everybody hated me for that.
But I could have saved us both a whole bunch of time and just used one word before I picked it. Trubisky. Okay? Do you trust Trubisky to freaking come through when you need him? He can come. Can he light up the scoreboard? Yeah, maybe against somebody else. He ain't doing that. Nah, Green Bay is well coached right now. I think LaFleur's an upgrade. Look, listen, to respect to McCarthy, man.
I was saying
LaFleur's
that for a
an
while.
Upgrade, dude. So
saying that for a while.
Sean's going with the Pack. Cold weather, not a factor. Yeah, Chi-town.
Yeah, and no shot to, McCarthy, because, look at he's dealing with Dallas. I don't know if that's, great or not, but I just think he's a stale coach with a superstar quarterback. You got to let him do his thing, or create a system that he can flourish in. It can't just be neither of those things.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Last game is Washington visiting. Are they visiting the Eagles? Yeah, Washington is visiting the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to go first on this one. I'm going to go with the Eagles, and I'll tell you why. Is because even though the Eagles are out of the playoffs, just like a lot of teams, some people are just working out stuff and this and that, but a lot of people are playing for their resumes, okay? I'm not talking about coaches, but I'm talking about players. Like if they're supposed to lose the game and if players take plays off and whoever comes in new is going to clean house, what are they going to look at? They're going to look at your last few games. They're going to look at your last few games and they're going to judge your whole resume by that. So if you think some of these teams are taking games off or whatever, I just think it's a dumb thing to even think when you think about people's playing lives, just collectively, from the kicker all the way down, all the way up, I mean. So I'm going with the Eagles. I think Hurts gets a chance to finish strong. His final audition for them to make a decision, I'm going with the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, I really love watching Alex Smith play, especially in a situation that doesn't completely make him, just stay still and hit the target. He's got to move a little bit. He's got to, create different lanes to pass from. I think that's really, even if he's not athletic necessarily even anymore, he's just he's a versatile quarterback. He's not necessarily just a pocket quarterback. So
True
for
that.
me, Alex Smith, if he's in the game, I'm picking Washington. Just on the fact that Washington's defense has been supreme. Not even just, just on that front four, and they get a little bit of pressure the right way on a Jalen Hurts. I think it's just gonna, rock him off his confidence a bit. So, I think that Washington's gonna win this game, and then just make the NFC really difficult to figure out who's coming out.
Well, Washington wins, they're in. It makes the Cowboys
Aren't they
Giants game
6-8?
irrelevant. Yeah. It makes them irrelevant. It makes the game
Well,
irrelevant.
hey, let's
That's
go
the
Washington.
scenario. Yeah. But you don't understand. It's the ultimate honey dick. The Washington has to lose to make the Cowboys game important. Yeah.
Nah, it's not gonna happen, man. No, what would be
Accident
great?
waiting to happen,
No,
Rob.
because there's two ways now. There's, Washington wins, and then the Cowboys blow out the Giants.
Then the Cowboys are in. Oh no, Washington wins. That's right.
That's what I'm saying. So it's just break your heart all week 17.
Oh, that's even worse. Because as I said, oh my God, oh if they didn't win, oh we would have went to the playoffs and we would have went all the way to the Super Bowl. Why do you think I hate this team so much? I don't hate Dak Prescott. I don't hate the Red
Right.
Rifle. I don't dislike Zeke, Ohio State guy. I just hate their nauseating fan base. Do you know how many
agree.
days I had to listen to? They get one win. Oh yeah. Oh, we're turning around. This is it. This is our launching point. That's my favorite one. This is our launching point. You know what? We can go to the playoffs. And you know what? We get in the playoffs, we can go all the way to the Super Bowl. It's just mind blowing. I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. I don't even say that about my team. And I think the
Right.
Buffalo Bills has the best chance of beating Kansas City Chiefs. If anyone could win a shootout, I'm telling you, Kansas City's secondary is good, but they ain't got nobody that can hold Diggs and Beasley. Nope. Or John Brown, who's on viral protocol. So that's the end of our pick six. Go to one of my favorite topics. We call it, ladies and gentlemen, this is to shame or not to shame. Let's see if I can get this right. Ready?
Shame. 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 Shame.
Haha, I did it, Rob.
Hey,
All right,
here we go.
Rob. To shame or not to shame? To shame or not to shame? The Falcons have all 3 timeouts with 54 seconds left to go and elect to melt the clock down and play the field goal to tie instead of going for the win. Rob. And they miss the field goal and eventually lose. So, Rob, shame or no shame?
Definitely shame. Just on the fact that you have Matt Ryan, who was killing it at that point. If any part of the game he was playing very well, if any part of the season he was playing very well, it was at that point.
Yep.
And all you have to do is 5 here, 10 there, hit the sideline, 3 incompletions, kick a field goal. But you at least have to keep the pressure on that defense because you're going to go to the overtime next. You keep the pressure on the defense. So definitely shame on that. Definitely shame.
When I saw that clock ticking down, when I saw them get within close to the red zone, if not in the red zone, and it was 54 seconds and he just kept letting it tick, I was like, what the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing, dude? You're an interim coach, aren't you? I mean, you if you're going to audition, you got to play it smart. I got 10 seconds left, and maybe I'm just beating around the bush when I could have just summarized this whole thing in just one word. I could say 3 times, shame, shame, shame. All right, Rob, to shame or not to shame? Sam Darnold to get a first down runs over Malcolm Smith on the Cleveland Browns. Shame, to shame or not to shame? I'm going to go first on this one. Dude, Malcolm Brown, you love to hit the quarterback, and sometimes I know you want to lay off when they're taking a slide, but when that dude's high, you start high, and when he slides, you miss him high. You do not let some scrub USC quarterback steamroll you and roll up on you like he's a boss on a team that only won one game last week. Big up to the Jets for beating teams with winning records, but shame, dude. Come on, man. Rob, talk to me, man.
Yeah, I mean, definitely shame. I gotta say though, as a defender, it has been increasingly difficult in the last couple of years to understand when to make a penalty or how to not make a penalty when hitting somebody. So I understand the hesitance, but yeah, I mean, when you're a defender, you got to crush that guy, especially a quarterback. You can never touch the quarterback now. So the second he tucks the ball and run, you better be low on your shoulder and putting the boom on him because you never get to touch quarterbacks now.
What about like a nice hard two-hand touch? How about that? How about a nice
something.
how about you can really two-hand touch someone that the ref's not gonna, you know what I'm saying? Don't lead with your helmet, don't lead with your shoulder. Cause like you said, you can't even there was a roughing the passer penalty on Stidham last night that I thought was bullcrap. The guy when Stidham passed, he put both arms up. And on the pass, he's allowed a whole step, and that wasn't even a whole step. That was mid-step, and chest bumped him, and he fell down. And they got a rough in the passer, and I'm like, "Come on, man, you taking care of that backup more than you taking care of Cam. give me a break."
True.
All right, guys, that was to shame or not to shame, but I thought I'd have a little fun with the second one because I've been one of Sam Darnold's biggest critics, actually, any quarterback from USC, Sanchez, Matt Barkley. I mean, come on, Buffalo. Just give me Stidham. Give me Kaepernick. You're going to tell me Stidham's in the league and Matt Barkley's in the league and Kaepernick's not. That's a whole nother podcast, my man.
Mm-hmm.
So, Rob, this is our next section, our next to last section. This is called Quick Question. Quick Question. All right, Rob, quick question. Will the Chiefs have an easy road to the Super Bowl?
No. I mean, they got to go through the Bills, no?
Yeah, and the Titans.
So, I mean, I'm not too, worried about the Titans for them. But, yeah, I mean, the way they've been playing, I'm worried about anybody, especially those lesser teams, where they're kind of like, hey, we'll just put on 15 at the end of the game and it'll be fine. And then that 15 doesn't show up and they're like, hey, we got to score 3 points somehow. I feel like that's definitely going to happen to Kansas City one of these games. But yeah, I don't see them as being. I definitely see an easy schedule.
I'm with you. I got to go. No, it's not an easy road to the Super Bowl for 2 reasons. One, the Buffalo Bills are playing their best football, and they can win shootouts if you allow them to. I mean, the second thing is, Kansas City, they have these kinks. And when you have a team that's trying to work out kinks and they have a bye week, that leaves you high. History says that leaves you highly vulnerable to lose some of these games. So the answer is no. Rob, quick question: who wins between the Bucks and the Heat today? The Miami Heat.
Bucks and Miami Heat. I'm gonna go with. I just like the Bucks, man. I think Giannis is just a free guy now. So I love to see what he's gonna do the next couple of years.
Dude, there is nothing like an athlete who gets his money and still plays ball like he's playing for a contract, and I'm loath to say that we name them by name because I can't highlight too many of them. Some of them get worse and some of them stay the same. LeBron's gotten better since he's got his money. The big Greek freak is going to be the same on his worst day, and they're one of the best regular season teams, and this is a regular season game, and I expect them to beat the Heat. That's my answer too. Rob, quick question: which head coach on a losing team do you think his job is in jeopardy? I'll go first on this one. I'm going to go with Zimmer from Minnesota. They didn't play good football. They have some talent around them, and you manage to lose Diggs and a lot of these people, and I think him and the GM are going to get it. How about you?
I got to say, maybe it's not the overall right choice, but I got to say Doug Peterson. They had one great year, his first year or second year, after they just drafted Carson Wentz, their number 1 or number 2 overall pick. And, they've kind of been flat. The head coach is a part of the player personnel as well. So when you're losing guys, or Fletcher Cox is not playing as well as he used to, or all your linebackers got traded away, that's on you too as a coach. You got to keep your players, you got to make them perform. So I have to say Doug Peterson.
Cool. Rob, quick question. That's actually a pretty unique pick, because it seems like Peterson has done good with every quarterback except Wentz after that first season. But no,
Right.
but you've been saying it. You've been consistent. You've been saying that from the beginning. Quick question. Which coach on a losing team do you think whose job is safe?
I mean, definitely. This is an easy one, but Joe Judge, first-year coach. I think that they've done fantastic things with the Giants. Not the record, but the way they play football, how they're competing. He's far and beyond one of my favorite young coaches out there.
Yeah, I was gonna go lazy with Bill Belichick or John Gruden, but because I know they're both like kind of made men, you know what I'm saying? And Gruden, you got to force out the door before you fire him, and Bill Belichick, isn't pretty much an untouchable right now, especially with the relationship he has with Kraft. But I'm gonna go brave. I'd like this is, I didn't write it down because he wasn't my original pick as the head coach of the Bengals. The Bengals are a fun team to watch every week. Even without Burrow, they play hard every single play. You don't see them give up. And in light of the fact they have one of the cheapest owners in the NFL, I'm very, very impressed the way this guy kept all these guys up. And they just play hard every week. And I'm looking forward to watching them play this week. I believe they're playing the Ravens. So
Could we get an honorable mention?
Yeah.
Brian Flores.
Well, they're not a losing team.
Well, damn.
Yeah. Come
But
on.
I love him.
No, Flores
That's my
last.
coach.
Listen, Flores last
honestly,
year.
that could be my newcomer of the year head coach. Cause
Would you make him? Would you call him coach of the year this year? I would.
mean, yes, just because if you remember what this team looked like before the season started, right? Like they were a losing team last year, losing team for the last 3 seasons, pretty much.
Fitzpatrick starting this year.
Fitzpatrick starting. Oh, we got Tua Tagovailoa, who might be injured, might not. Who's our offensive line? Yeah, I think he's probably in the running for coach of the year, along with Buffalo Bills head coach too.
Yeah, Coach McDermott, I think deserves
yeah.
the nod because he got all the pieces he wanted. But there's something to be said about putting all the pieces together, because a lot of coaches get handed talent and don't do anything because, like the Cowboys.
And and not to make this too much longer, but they also missed on Oliver. Totally missed.
Yeah.
And they still have been better this year than last year.
Tomlin was my front runner until he lost 3 in a row. So now he's neck and neck with the rest of them. But if I had to pick one today, I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna go Flores, man. I'm gonna go Flores. I like that. I like that question. Quick question, Rob. Let's see. Who wins between the Raptors and Sixers today?
I'll go with the Raptors. I like the Raptors a lot. I like what
Raptors.
they got.
Me too.
Yeah.
Raptors. Quick question, Rob. This weekend we got Ohio State playing Clemson. We got Alabama playing Notre Dame. Quick question, Rob. Who wins between Ohio State and Clemson?
Dabo gave them a lot of locker board material, so. But, I can't deny. It's got to be Clemson, man.
I'm going with
They're
Ohio
too big,
State.
too strong.
I'm going with Ohio
Yeah.
State.
I'm
Who
not-
wins between Alabama and Notre Dame? Rhetorical question.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's really going to say
going
Notre
with
Dame,
Bama.
so.
Still scratching my head
Yeah.
on how Notre Dame even got in,
Hey,
They
we'll see.
they barely beat Clemson without Trevor Lawrence. They got blown away with him. And to me, with college football, since there's only 4 spots, to me that should be your playoff game, right? You lose to someone who's already in the top 4. That should be your playoff game. But
then do you duck and dive to stay away from the top 4? Maybe play a top 6, 7, 8 team to kind of squeeze in there?
yeah, Cincinnati. They're gonna have to have a stronger schedule. They were undefeated,
Exactly.
Texas
so what's
A&M,
I don't know.
A&M look good, So
It's hard to say what the thing is. I would love to see that maybe for next week and figure out what would be the best process for strength of schedule. Should it be too strong, too soft?
Quick question, Rob. Should teams be playing the lose? Like the last couple of weeks, some teams have been playing the lose to get like higher lottery picks.
I mean, no, if you don't want to lose your job as a GM or a head coach or anybody else in the coaching staff,
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it usually comes from one person or one idea where they're trying to either lock in a draft pick or they're trying to, get something better for the team in the future. But then they forget to realize how many jobs they employ at that time. So I think even the tanking for somebody's strategy is terrible all around as a franchise.
Look, initially I was gonna say yeah, but it's an emphatic no for two reasons. One, you're trying to get these lottery picks and these high lottery picks, but I think we have quarterback recency bias because people have been selecting quarterbacks and those quarterbacks have come into full fruition. Think about all the number one and number two and number three picks, right? Like you got Cam Newton, you got Kyler Murray, you got all these. This dude from the Chargers, Herbert, is just like the best quarterback no one's talking about this year. Josh Allen, who only dropped down because he got caught using the N-word when he was 15 years old. But I think because we have quarterback recency bias, we think that the guy's automatically going to shine. And that's not, there's no guarantee. So I don't lie. So I say no for that one reason. And the second reason is you have GMs and coaches and players who, if they get cut, a team that wants to pick them up is going to be looking at them. So people are fighting for their player and coaching resumes. So no, it's not a good idea. If it happens, it happens. I mean, but no, I don't think it's a good idea. And you're not going to see a lot of people on the Jaguars next year, because of how they've been playing, Minshew, another quarterback in the league before Kaepernick. God, I'm back at them. Sorry. But that,
the things, and I don't want to bring that up too
64
hard,
quarterbacks better than him.
But the things that they were saying about Gardner Minshew, like, oh, this guy has genius tendencies and unbelievable intangibles. I'm like, can he throw the ball to his receiver? Oh, no. Okay, then let's not let him start. I get if people are trying to, push people in there and maybe they think they got something, but anybody that was watching football could tell that Gardner Minshew was a backup quarterback at best. And for them to say that he was going to be a franchise quarterback or he had the aptitude to play at such a level where a franchise could actually go around him and build around him is disgusting. It's disgusting. And honestly, it's right at the level of, I don't even want to say this thing, of just being inept. Like if you can't see that Gardner Minshew is not as good as a quarterback as what we saw Colin Kaepernick was, then okay, you should just not talk sports.
No, like ever again.
Sorry.
I mean, for me, it comes from a very special place in my heart, or contemptuous, resentful place in my heart, because as a volleyball coach, right, there are so many people who will get jobs over me because they're a bigger name, right? Okay, they've done this as a player, you've done that as a player, but the real question is, can he do the job better than me? That's the question, and I'm not trying to brag about myself, but there's so many people that I'm so much better than, but because, and I have a name now, I had to build and rebuild my name, but there are so many people out there like me in every sport, where they're like, oh, that guy has a pedigree, oh, this guy did that as a player, and I'm like, no. Can he do the fucking job or not? Can he do the freaking job or not? Yes or no? And I don't know. I'm gonna, maybe I just keep pounding that on the podcast until people get tired of listening to me. But I'm glad you brought that up, because that has a very significant personal place as far as my sentiment is concerned. Guys, that concludes Quick Question, and that concludes our podcast. But before we go, we do shout outs or whatever, and I want to do a big RIP to one of my favorite pitchers growing up as a Yankee fan. I was Phil Niekro. Passed away at 84 years old. I believe he played for the Atlanta Braves, but I can only remember the time that he played for the Yankees. Big time knuckleballer, man. I mean, balls that would just leave the top of the screen and land in the strike zone. Balls that would just leave the screen. Passed away at 84 years old. He played baseball in the majors till 48 years old. He had 320-win seasons. Wow. He's a Hall of Famer. He won ERA, lowest ERA award in 1967. So a pitcher coming from 1967, pitching all the way into the 80s. The 80s Yankees with Mattingly and Winfield and Ricky Henderson and those guys. So big up to Phil Niekro. 318 career wins. That puts him 16th on the list of career wins. Won the National League ERA title. That's what that was. Yep. So that's my shout out. And that's it. And I gave Taylor Crabb a shout out already. You know, mad respect. I'm not a fan of players in the sport as much as I'm a fan of the sport, but I do have my favorites. You know, I do have my female favorites, Brandy Wilkerson. My male favorites is actually his brother, Trevor. You know, and a couple other people, but you know, mad respect. What do you got, Rob?
To everybody, happy and healthy, y'all.
Thank you. God bless you. Good night.
Yes, sir.
Yo, my dude. All right, we did it. And that's it for our podcast. That's episode 48. Thank you for listening to us, for all of you at home, for all of you on your iPad, for all of you on your iPhone at Starbucks on the lunch line, for all of you on your Droid, for all of you on your desktop who runs the world. Old school for Rob. Keep it. McLean. I am Jason DeBeers. This is Sports Debate Tuesday. We're out. Come check out the Option Podcast on OptionVB.com. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify and on YouTube under the NY Varsity Sports handle. You're going to love what you hear.